Good evening, model railroaders, and welcome back to the Second Section podcast, where it's just regular folks talking about model railroading. I'm your host, Andy Dorsch, and joining me this evening, deep in thought, on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, is Mike Ostertag, my co-host. Mike, how you doing?
Have you ever put together one of these Kaiser Valley radiator cores?
Yes, I have. I have one I'm putting in an Atlas GEU 33C.
Oh, I've got the SW 1200 one here.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
It'll look really, really cool. Still kind of a pain.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff. There's lot
some
to it.
Fiddly bits.
Yeah, and I've learned one thing with the bottom of it, the space part, is that your what's the word that I'm looking for? Your metal fatigue comes quick.
Yeah.
You can't mess with this very much. You have like one shot at bending this, and that's the end of it. Yeah, anyway, cool. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on.
No, it's good. It's good. So how you been otherwise? It's been a week.
Oh, just fine. Let's see. I had to go back to work. That stunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're back here.
Yeah, we're back here. This will be fun. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We got some familiar faces back on the show with us this evening. We have Paul Kassar here. I believe this is his fourth time on the show. Welcome back, Paul.
Thanks, guys. It's good to be here.
Yeah, and we also have returning for a second time, Steve from trainwaybills.com here. And he's going to be showing us some cool new features that he's added to the trainwaybills.com application for model railroad operations. So Steve, how you been? It's been a while. Oh, you're double secret muted, my friend?
Oh, hang on. There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, wrong slider. Sorry. Yeah, no, I've actually been sick over the last week, so yeah, no, I'm better now. But hopefully everyone's got their antivirus on because I don't want to catch anything.
Oh,
I'm good. I'm good now. I'm good.
That's a computer.
It was a bit touch and go because it was pretty bad. Flu or maybe even the second round of COVID. I don't know, but yeah, no, I'm much better now. So yeah, we're good.
Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better and that we could go on with the show as scheduled, because I was a bit nervous for you when you said you were down in the middle of the week. I'm like, I hope things are good to go. But you look well, and it's good to have you back. So tonight it's gonna be a little bit different of a show, because not only are we going to be talking about a product, but we have someone here, Paul, who is a unpaid testimonial.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored. Yeah. And a power user of trainwaybills.com that he's going to share his experiences with the application with us tonight. And then and we're going to ask a whole bunch of questions about that. And then Steve's going to take us through all of the add-ons. So I'm going to put the first, if you guys didn't catch the first show, you really should go check it out. I'm going to put a link to it in the chat here. I'm also going to throw, I'll also put it in the description of the show after this evening. But yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome to see all of he basically took all the feedback that the section crew and Mike gave him during the show, and he jammed it into the application. So this is going to be awesome.
Okay. So let's be honest, Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, be honest. I kind of tore it apart, didn't I?
Oh yeah, no, but absolutely. But it was great because what you did with it made me. So I'll sort of go into it a little bit later, but the crux of it is our club layout. We have a car card and waybill system, and 50% of the time it sucks. There's something fundamentally wrong with it. And so it was so frustrating that I felt like I needed to digitize it. Obviously, being a coder and developer and stuff like that, I thought I can do this. So we took that basic function and turned it into a digital solution. Now, when I showed you guys, obviously Mike brought his expertise in and said, we do it slightly differently. This is, so I took that information and I developed it further to sort of give it a little bit more realism and some more tools that you can play with. So hopefully it meets the approval. If not, I got to go back and add more to it. But yeah, the idea is that I took it from a physical card system to a digital system, as we use it. Yeah.
And so then Steve and Paul. So this is essentially what we're going to be talking about tonight. Is it's an aid for model railroad operations, right, to help out with car cards and waybills, because I know from my personal experience operating with car cards and waybills, I'm good for at least one time of dropping the cards on the floor of the layout or leaving them on the layout. I'm also good for that. And I am, and if I don't have the real estate in front of me to do my beautiful mind, scene where I have to lay everything out, and then I get the red yarn and I'm like, okay, we're going to put this one here, this one here, this one here. If I don't have the space to do that, I'm sitting there shuffling cards for days. So I think, going through the mechanics of this tool, this application again, kind of shows you how kind of overcome a lot of those obstacles with car cards and waybills. So so again, good to see you guys back on the show. Like Chris Bell says, or resorting them and losing your place. Absolutely. So tonight, the last show was pretty structured, where we got into the theory of operations and then how did the cars and waybills play into all of it. Tonight's going to be a little more informal. So basically, Mike and I are just going to kind of kick it over to Steve and Paul. But as part of the section crew, we want you guys to interact tonight, ask questions about the tool itself, what Paul's doing with it, those types of things. And then it's going to be a back and forth conversation about how the tool's been improved and how you can participate in some of the reporting that goes on with it tonight, a new feature that Steve's added. So Steve and Paul, we're gonna bounce over to you now. So Paul, you picked up this application shortly after seeing it on the Second Section podcast here. How long have you been using it for?
So just a bit of history before that. I've been using Switchlist for the last 8 years.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And I was using a program called Switchlist, which is a Mac program.
Okay. Nice
and simple, great program, except the developer hadn't touched it in 8 years. So there was no improvements. So I was actually in the middle of looking for something else. And what I'll say up front is there are plenty of great Switchlist and that type of programs around. And this isn't about bagging anything else. This is some are great and people will love them and always love them. That's fine. And that's, and that's great. When I saw the Second Section show, and and I've never used train waybills, I've never used car card system before. Basically, I use a straight switch list that provided a switch list for my trains, and I switch based on a switch list. What I found when I saw this product was it gave you more flexibility. And what I mean by that is, once you set it up, and yes, no matter what system you decide to choose, there's always a learning curve and a little bit of time in setting up. That goes regardless. Some of the positives I liked front up was the fact that it's in the cloud. So it doesn't rely on your laptop to have all the data. I can use a laptop for setting up waybills. I can use an iPad, which I do for operating, or a laptop, or I can use my phone. I can be across the other side of the world and I can pull a report just to see how things are, or if I want to do some work on it. As long as you've got a web browser, you're connected to the system. To me, that's a real positive. So when I set it up, and what I will say, having Steve available and providing feedback and kudos to Steve, accepting feedback like from Mike in relation to the product.
I didn't actually give him a choice. I was giving him his feedback whether he wanted it or not.
Yeah.
In the form of a 5-pound hammer.
Yeah. but the fact that Steve took that on is a credit to him. And let me tell you, from the time that Steve presented last time to now, the product has just exploded in options and capability. So I've not seen that in my previous program at all. So it's probably fair to say that I had mentioned to Steve a number of improvements as well, one being reporting, and gave Steve some examples of what the switch list program did in relation to reporting. And what I like about reporting is it adds, you're not actually in front of the layout, you can pull down a report to see on how the layout's performing, what cars are being called by the waybills, where cars are, just a click of a button. And that allows you to see, and this would happen prototypically, I can tell you, how the railroad's performing. What industries are really taking a lot of cars and what industries are a bit light on. So, and I guess the other point is once you're set up and you're operating, it's my choice now what cars I switch, because there'll be a number of waybills available or cars ready for switching. I can decide to pick them up out of the classification yard and switch to an industry, or I can decide to leave them to another operating session. But they're always in the system. Whereas the switch list basically printed out 20 cars that needed to be operated, and I had to operate all those cars. So it provided another level of flexibility into my operating session. And if you look,
go ahead, and then if you're keen to take a couple questions, because we got Heath from Humanity Junction's got a couple, and I'll bring those up. But go carry on, please, Paul.
I was just going to say, although I was going to drop off my camera and show my background only, but I don't know how to do that now. I did it before, but now it's gone. You'll see if I move out of the way, you can see.
Yeah, right behind your head
iPad.
there.
Yep, there's my iPad, and that's train waybills. So
nice.
The iPad moves with me as I move around the layout, operating. And if I was to have a second person operating, I can open up a second session for a second operator to use on another iPad to basically access the waybills. So there's no need for printing out anything. All the cars and waybills are in the areas that you're switching.
Yeah.
And you can determine which cars you want to pick up if they're ready, or which cars you want to leave for another session. So what started to happen with my layout, with switch lists, it became very predictable. You could actually, it was predictable of what you were going to be switching each time, compared to train waybills where there's a bit of a random, or not even randomness. I can determine on what I want to pick up and drop off. So if I see that I've got too many cars in the industry, and actually the system will tell you, you can click on a button to tell you how many spaces are available. I can determine to take that car or leave it in the classification, or I can take it to the industry and off-spot it into another spur. So, now that wasn't available before, but
we know that.
thanks to Mike's constructive feedback.
There was no constructive; it was more destructive feedback.
Destructive,
So before we diverge here, Paul. So there's a couple of questions. I want to bring this one up. So Paul, what version are you using? Are you using the paid version or the free version?
So I started off with the free version.
Yep.
And the free version allows up to 40 cars, Steve.
Yeah, it on the time of the podcast, it was 10. It was like have a little play with it. We've since increased that to 40 cars now. So you can literally, if you've just got a small layout with less than 40 cars, you can use train waybills for free. That was the point.
So I use the middle. I subscribe and I think I pay $5 a month. And let me tell you, for $5 a month for a cup
That's
of coffee, I get, and the size of my layout, I've got 28 industries, and I switch around about 200 cars on the layout.
$5 a month. You get 200. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. If
Absolutely.
you cost the price of making car cards and waybills plus your time in having to construct all the stuff, it is comparable, or it actually works out cheaper. It depends on the quality, because some people do like Corex boxes, or some people use like a really nice pine box. Yeah. So if you start using pine and things like that, then your costs are going to escalate through the roof. So it does tend to be comparable.
And once again, I find value in it. It's about value. If you find value in it, then paying $5 or $8 Australian, I think I pay, for me, that's great value. It enables to have a system that's in the cloud, accessible from wherever I want.
Yeah.
It allows quite realistic operations. And then, as I said, it allows reporting. And the reporting I really enjoy, because I can see how the layout, I can see that, for instance, Coors Brewery is my number one industry and averages around about 30, 40 cars over a couple of sessions. But I can see what cars are being accessed. I can then alter waybills or add more waybills as I like. There's some new functionality that's in now. There's a what is it? I'm thinking of the word. It calculates. What's the word I'm looking for, Steve? We're using AI. Right?
Oh, the algorithms.
Algorithm. It's got algorithms that allows. It won't send too many cars to an industry if the industry's full. It'll actually hold them in the yard, but that's optional. I can set up the system just to keep pumping cars out,
Mike.
and I decide when to take them, or I can let the system determine how many cars to send. Yeah. And you've got reports.
So you do have the option there, right?
Yeah,
Paul?
Yeah.
So you do it. So it's not just manual input. It is. You can have the program actually set your session parameters and say, okay, you got this number of cars here. We want this one and we want this one. Or you can choose them yourself. Either way,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Is that just a button click?
Yeah, just go back in settings and untick a box. Pretty much.
It's configurable on how much you want the system to do it for you and how much manual intervention you want to do. And they're all options that you can turn on and off depending on how you want to operate.
How you want to operate.
Right.
Yeah. And even if you've got it full.
Yeah.
How big's the list, Mike?
We got about 25 items on there now.
Even if you set it to hold cars, you can still take that car somewhere. Like it's still totally flexible to how you want to operate. And for me, it's been really successful. That's why I'm here, I guess, doing a testimonial. I really actually enjoy operating now, because I can just pull my iPad, go to a location, and it will tell me what cars are due to be picked up, and it'll tell me what cars need dropping off. So as I pick cars up out of the classification yard or out of an industry, the system will tell me where the car needs to be dropped off. Or I can go straight to a report and have a look and see what's coming, or what industries are getting a bit full, when there's cars due to be picked up. And I actually run 4 trains. I run the Riverbelt, of course, I don't know if you can see that, but the Riverbelt line, which is there, has a train, and then I have an MKT, a Missouri Pacific, and Norfolk Western train that switches different types of cars on the layout. So the waybills, I'll have waybills that are specific for Caddy, specific for Norfolk and Western, specific for Riverbelt. So those trains switch their cars, but sometimes I might decide that yard's a bit full, so the Mopac will pick up a couple of MKT cars as well and drop them off in the interchange. So it's totally flexible. Is there any more questions, Andy?
Yeah, there's a couple here. Let me see. I lost one. But the question that I have is, so can you facilitate multiple users at your layout? So let's say me, Steve, and Mike come over to your layout and we all want to use this system. How do we How do we get after that? Because I think this was a question that we had last time, but it would be good to refresh our audience, right?
So quite easily, there's a couple of ways. I've done a number of ways. One is I give the operator the iPad, and they operate using that. I'll log in with a second iPad and give the second operator a second iPad and say, here are the industries you're going to switch. They click on those locations and it gives them basically their cars they need to pick up. What I also have done is given a iPad to an operator, and I've sat in the background with a laptop just seeing how they're going and giving them some tuition on what they need to do. So it just gives you that flexibility. And then they can log on their own phone or their own iPad. We give them an ID. And then when they're finished, when you finish operating, you can just remove them off the system. So they're not sitting at home switching for you.
Yeah, so they can't muck up your car card system. That's really good.
Yeah, and as I said, the reporting is just an added functionality which has really been great. And Steve and I have worked together, and I think Steve was getting a bit sick of me for a while because I'm forever putting tickets into the system.
No, that's what it's for.
About improvements. So, and that's what I will say is that the system itself allows you to raise a ticket, like in IT, for either asking for support or making recommendations to further improve the system, and that's been real positive as well. And I guess the third part is because it's in the cloud, you're not having to download new software. As soon as Steve brings in new functionality, hit refresh on your browser, and there you are. You've got the latest version with all the tools.
That's awesome. Because I was looking, so I've got my phone here, right? And so what's really cool is I still have a free account. So I was able to log back into it. I haven't touched it in a few months, right? But I was able to log back in and basically start right where I left off, which is amazing.
That's a big positive. Like, as you know, Andy, I was away traveling for 4 weeks recently, got back home, fired up the layout, hit the iPad, and there it is, exactly where I'm up to. All the cars are waiting to be switched still.
Cross device as well. So if you have one device and you want to swap to another one, when you log in on the other one, it will still load up exactly where the previous device was. You don't have to start a whole new thing.
So now here, hang on to your shorts, right? So I take this and use this as my throttle, right? So I'm logged into Train Waybills right now. I just hit the 3-bar button down there, and I can flip back and forth between engine driver, and then right back into my car card. So if I'm using my phone as my throttle, it's pretty easy to toggle back and forth and start operating. Because that was one of the things on our checklist for tonight was, well, some of us use our phones as our throttles, right?
Yeah.
It could be kind of a pain in the tuchus to toggle back and forth. But all you got to do is just do your little app swap, right, and away you go. So it's pretty easy to get back and forth, which I think is pretty cool.
Did you just say tuchus?
I did. I'm trying to keep her PG tonight.
So you won't probably see that well. I just logged in on my phone.
Yeah.
And there it is, right there where I'm up to.
And he's not at home, by the way.
I'm not at home.
Yeah.
So you can see there's a number of waybills. Number of waybills that are waiting for me to pick up when I get home.
And like we said last time, is if you come up with a new idea while you're away from your layout, you can I should have built that waybill. You can log in and build that waybill while you're away from the layout, and it will be there when you get back to operate.
And that's the way that's what I do. What I tend to do is when I'm adding cars or adding new waybills, I sit on my laptop and do it from my laptop, larger screen, and then go into layout on the iPad and start operating.
That's outstanding. I love this. Is really cool. This is a cool.
It's as for us tech, I'm a bit of a techie as well.
Yeah.
I never could get the concept of separate car cards and waybills.
Yeah.
But when I did electronically, it just all dropped in on how it works. And you can even, some of the functionality, and I'm sure Steve will take you through it shortly, is you can sort your waybills on the iPad and put them in order in the way you want to switch.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was the other thing that we had talked about too, was essentially the order. And that's another thing we're going to be ticking off the box hopefully tonight. So
that wasn't part of the last V1, yeah, but it is now, yeah.
So I guess anyways, questions for the section crew here. I know Paul's going to be dropping off shortly.
Yeah.
So if you do have a question, we'll get them in quick here. But I guess overall, Paul, I mean, how do you feel incorporating this system, versus some of the other things that you've done on your Riverbelt line? Has it improved it? Yes, no? Your operations?
I would say it's added another. So when you look at operations, when I look at mine in the past, adding the switch list was an improvement. A big jump step was when I went to the Proto Throttle.
Mm-hmm.
And this has added another significant step of improvement in operating it. I couldn't go back now. Because at one stage I thought, do I stick with this or switch list? Once I started using it properly, train waybills, I was hooked. So it certainly added, and as I said, the variability compared to switch list is like, I don't know, Mike, do you switch the same cars every day on the railroad, or it's always different, right?
Well, it all depends. So it depends on what you want to call switching, right? So there's a days where we'll take. Now hold on to your hat, Steve. Okay, get
strap in.
Yeah, get your pad of paper ready.
I got it ready.
We hate doing this, but we do it because they kind of tell us we've gotta, and it's something that makes no sense to us, but whatever. Okay, so we have a certain company, and that company will has 100 cars or so in their fleet or whatever. It's something insane like that. So we might have in the yard on our regular track where everything comes from the trains, that track that has all the cars for all our industries, that might have 20 cars for this one industry. Well, they might only order in 3 that day, right? But the yard's going to tell us, hey, those other 17, go put them on track 143 out in the park, out on the Howard Spur. Well, after much grumbling and trying to get out of doing it, we end up doing it. So now that next road train that comes in has got trains for that industry. And now you have them in this location and this location. And then that next day, you're actually getting orders for 2 cars from the yard and 3 cars from that siding. And that's what you need to spot.
Yep.
So
well, you can do that.
You're handling the same cars 2 and 3 times sometimes, but before they even get into the industry.
No.
And so therefore that can get really confusing, because as model railroaders, as a typical, just the way I've seen it for the most part, I'd say, I don't want to say a higher number than this, but I'd say 90% of the people that do model railroading, everything goes from A to the industry back to A. That's it. That's all there is. There is no, we have too many, we're going to hold these someplace else. There is no, we can't put these cars on that siding. Where are we going to run around something? Guess what? You put them on that siding, and now you got to figure things out.
And I do just as you explained, Mike. I've got a Coors brewery, which has a grain terminal, and it takes a lot of grain cars. But sometimes I've got too many and no off spot. So I will then take them back to the classification yard, sit them in the yard, and they will be sitting in there. And I basically classify them into the yard until my next operating session, and they will sit there waiting to go into the grain terminal and I've got 3 cars sitting in my layout right now. I know, and once there's some grain cars that are emptied and come out, I will then go back to the classification yard and put those ones in because I've got no space. So you can do that.
Oh no, see, these aren't even considered an off spot.
No.
These are just relocated.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what.
So then that same place can hold 40 cars inside their plant, and they might only ship 5 out. So now you're taking 5, putting 5, and we're sitting here going, why are you?
Yeah,
why? Because you got 25 of the same car in the back. Why do you need these ones off the side? And use those damn cars first. Yep. That's what we sit there and we tried telling them this, but they're not paying for the cars. See, there's no demerge on those cars. So, and that's where that comes down to is,
So you've got 2 options. What you just said, Mike, you can off spot a car, or if the off spot's not there or it's already full, you can drop it somewhere else, and it'll sit there, waiting to be picked up next time.
Now, do you need to go and try to hunt for those cars, or will the system automatically say, "Oh, wait a minute, I've got cars over here and over here. These are the oldest. These are the oldest cars that are on the layout. These are newer. We need to take them from here rather than here." So your job leaves the layout or leaves the yard without anything for that industry, but has to stop and pick up cars at a different location.
That's probably up to the operator. Would you say, Steve? For me,
it depends where you are as well. Now, if you off spot a car at the location, so you take the car with you. You off spot it because there's no room at the industry. They're waiting for it, and you put it somewhere waiting to go in. The system will then count how long that's been there. So the next train that comes along, they'll know that it was dropped off last time, or they'll know there's a car there that was dropped off, 2 days ago, and it's still waiting to go in. So you can prioritize which one you want to switch into the industry as part of your operations. The system just tells you the information, and then you as an operator would decide what you're going to do with that or how your layout would deal with it. Now, if what you're trying to describe, I think, Paul, is when you pick something up, but you're not going to take it with you. So you pull it out of the industry and you're going to not off spot it, but leave it there to be picked up by another train. Yeah, you'd have to hunt for it because there is no specific location for that to go. It's considered at the location, but not in the spot.
And I think that's a balance.
Unless you're at a classification yard.
Yeah.
Now, when you're at a classification yard, and you can assign any location of yours a classification yard, you can then specifically park that at any location, at any spot on that location. Yeah. So if it is a yard, you can say, pull it out of this industry and put it in track 4. And you can do that.
And that's the balance, right? The balance between having a fully automated system and one that still requires manual intervention. And I think you get the best of both worlds because the system's managing cars through the layout, but you're also determining when you want to take those cars or if you want to drop those cars somewhere else. And the system will remember that. So you get the best of both worlds. How much? Well,
the system's doing the orders. It's doing the actual customer orders, what they've ordered, where it needs to go to pick that order up, and then where to deliver it. And you, as the operator, are doing everything to get that order placed. Is how quickly you can get that order placed, or whether it's going to sit in the yard for a while. That's entirely up to you.
Yeah. Okay. Any final questions for me?
No, I think just the one here from Heath, which I think is going to segue us nicely into the next segment here is, can we show a screenshot of the new version?
And there's going to be lots of that.
Yeah. So I think that's where we want to head.
And Heath's question, all welcome to come to my place anytime. Just give me advance warning. And Heath, you just book your flights and come out.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Paul, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Paul.
No
Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. And it's good to see you again. And I'm glad that you're having such great success with trainwaybills.com. So thank
Sure.
you again.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Cheers. All right. So Steve is going to continue to take us through the new demo now, right? So Mike had the list.
Oh,
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So this is. It needs to be. It's more or less network based, right?
well, it's cloud based, but yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to have. Yeah. You need to have a internet connection.
You need an internet connection. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, who doesn't? If you don't have your own Wi-Fi, even a cell signal, even if you've got, you know, a basic cell signal, it works on that as well. So you can operate it anywhere. In fact, there's even more things coming in the future which will benefit that hugely. So, yeah. I noticed someone actually asked, because we said about the 40 car. That's just for the free version.
Yeah.
The subscribers, there's actually, you can do up to unlimited. So even if you've got 1,000 cars on your layout, the system is not restricted at all.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah. There's different levels. Before we only had the 2 levels. We had the basic and the advanced. Well, now we've got 3 levels. So you can have a real basic one. Well, you've got a free one, which will always be free. You've got a slightly more advanced, a middle ground one. And then, you know, if you've got a big club layout, there's one like that, and they're not expensive. So,
Is there a chance you can get more than 16 characters on your display name?
On the display name, I can't actually recall what the character limit is.
It's 16.
Is it 16?
Yeah.
I mean, it's digital, right? You want more characters? I can fit more characters. My problem was they could, if you put too many on there, I'm gonna have to squish them down so they're tiny.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah. So you want it readable,
right?
But yeah. But I mean, that's, to be honest, the display name thing hasn't even come into effect yet. Because I mean, you know who you are, right? You don't need to see that. But it will come into effect later on, because we've got even more features coming where you will be able to see. Actually, no, it does that now. If you actually drop a consist somewhere on someone else's layout, they will actually see your display name on that consist. So they'll know who was operating it, and then they can grab it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't know how to do this now. I don't know whether you just want to fire questions and I show you how to do it, or whether you want me to actually just go through it.
Yeah. Why don't we do a let's just go through a bit of a refresher so we got some new viewers, right? So let's bring up the tool proper, and then go through just a really high overview of it, and then let's dive into some of the new features and nuance that you've added to the tool. I think that's where we want to take this demonstration here.
Sure.
And then Mike will go through the checklist of all the things that Mike asked, and then we'll create a new one tonight for iteration 3.
Hopefully not.
Iteration. Oh no,
it's perfect. Don't touch it. It's perfect.
This is a living, breathing thing now. So
yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. So yeah, let's take a look here. And
you'll need to do the
why don't you
thing.
go in, and I'll put you up on the bigger thing like that.
Okay. So, I mean, the last podcast we did really goes into detail about the whole thing. So I'm not going to do any of that again, because if you want to see all that, go watch the other podcast, which rips it to pieces as to exactly what every little function does and how to set your layout up, and things like that. And last time, I don't think we had the tutorial videos, but now we have a full complement of tutorial videos. So you can just click on it and it will walk you through every single stage of setting up your layout. This is more along the lines of let's go one stage further in regards to, so you've got your system set up, you're operating, but you want to improve it. You know, there's something going on with it and you're not quite sure where the problem lies. These new tools that I've added will help you through all of that and discover where these problems are, how to enhance them, which is pretty much what I wanted to go through tonight. Okay. So if you want to know the ins and outs of how it works, go watch the other podcast, because it's what was it, 3.5 hours of that? It
was a lot. There was a lot of content in there,
and it was pretty fast paced because I needed to get everything out there. Right. Hopefully this will be a bit more slower paced and might ripping everything apart so I can explain it. But there you go.
Hey. Now. We're all
so I will do a quick demo, just like you say, if there's new people in the
just
chat
that
don't know. So I'll show. What I'll do is I'll do a run on my layout. As you see, we're at this place called High Creek Yard, which is my classification yard.
Okay.
And I'll run down to a location. We'll switch a few cars out, and then we'll run back and we'll go into the nitty gritty of how to enhance everything. So the way it basically operates is you've got your main menu for all your sort of account stuff and setting out your layout. This is a navigation menu, and this is your operations menu. And then in the main center stage here is what would be your car cards and waybills, right? Something you didn't mention earlier, Andy, is the whole greasy meat hands thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's another reason why I designed this, because some of the cards we've had at our club, you're like, I don't really want to be picking this thing up.
Well, they just get destroyed.
Yeah.
After so many times.
And that's one of the reasons why I built this, is because, you know, it's not just the cards as well, it's the pockets. Unless you're building it out of something substantial, the pockets just start falling apart, and then cards will actually fall out of the pockets because the pockets are not holding themselves together. Anyway, go watch the other one. It's all about that. So I just click this button here, which brings up a map of my layout. Now, since last time, I've changed it a little bit because it kind of snakes around little areas. So my layout in development is 6 locations. You've got a main line here, which goes from High Creek Yard to Walnut Ridge, then to Pine Meadows. You end up at Pine Hill, you do a turn, and you come back to the classification yard. There's a branch line here to Horseshoe Falls, which is the logging part of the layout. And there's another subdivision here, which is called Rockwood. And there's a lot of industry there. There's the power plant and all that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is we'll take a train down to Rockwood. We'll do a turn and we'll come back to the classification yard. And then I'll show you how we can enhance our systems. Now, I haven't staged any of this per se. I'm hoping that I've deleted enough from the system for it to throw up a few issues. It might not do that because it's actually been behaving too well. It's not actually giving me the issues that I wanted it to. But
that's never a good sign.
No, it's not. It's not. See, that there's all these algorithms that run in the background to take some sort of randomization for the waybills. But as I say, and as Paul said, you can tweak it to say, well, hey, I don't want it to do that, so turn that off. And I'll show you how we can do that. So first, here it says 0. We don't have any cars in our consist. Just ignore this hopper for a minute. We'll explain all that later. So the first thing I want to do in my classification yard is look for a consist to take. So I go into my consists. Now, this is basically a list of each track, as it were, and how many cars are in the consist of that track. So these are mostly classification tracks. I've got a track for the main line. I've got a track for the Rockwood sub, which we'll take. There's a track for Horseshoe Falls. And then I've added some like overflow and empty tracks because before we actually never had empty cars. Every single car was assigned a waybill and off it went. So now with the whole off-spotting algorithms, we now are thrown empty cars. And, you know, Mike will tell you, hopefully, fingers crossed, that if there are no customer orders and there's a car in the yard, you just put it somewhere, right? Until you get an order and you have a use for that car. So we can fully simulate that now on the system. Now, What it does mean is if you have too many empty cars, there's a few little tweaks you can do to rectify that. Or it usually means that you've got the incorrect balance of waybills, right? So now on a physical car card system, you would probably have to operate some time before these kind of things show their face and say, well, hang on a minute, you've got an imbalance here. Where is the imbalance? You're not going to know with physical car cards because, you know, they're not going to be physically in front of you to say, hey, this particular industry didn't get many cars this session, or, you know, over the last week, it didn't get many cars. The reporting tools that we've now added will show you all of that thing. So that's why we have these overflow tracks. So in case you think, oh, hang on, what's overflow? We'll come back to that. So let's just take a Rockwood subtrain. So what I would do is I would actually go and pull this consist from Rockwood sub, and on the train waybill system, I'd literally just click the button there. And as you see, we now have 7 cars in our consist ready to go. If you want to see what those 7 cars are, we can go to our operations menu. I can go to your consist. And as you see, these are all the cars that we have in our consist and where they're going. So we've got a couple for the food processing plant. We've got a few going into the lumberyard. And then we've got some coal loading ones. Now, I think someone mentioned before, I think it was Dennis said before about, well, these are not in the order of the consist that I've picked up, because the way the system does it is it does it in the spot order. It groups them together so you can see how many cars. Like, for instance, the food processing warehouse, they're grouped together. So I know there's 2 to go in there, right? It just makes it easier to see exactly where everything's going. Now, if you're one of those people that requires it to be in order, we have a new function. So if you click and hold a particular card, it will go into this mode. And it will scroll as I move the mouse left and right. It's slightly different on a touchpad. You'd have to move it around. Now I can now grab a car and shuffle it across any space I want in order. So I can basically reorder my train. Yeah. And then I can drop it.
Mikey's smiling.
So now that was one of the things that I had on the list, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Once you've done that, as you see, it's red to make it obvious that you're in edit mode and you're not accidentally going to drop a car. Once you finish that, you just click and hold the top like so, and it goes back to your operations menu. But now you see that it's in order of our consist. And anytime, if I just go back to operations, anytime you go back to that, it's now remembered that order. I will say, whenever you pick up a car, it's going to put it into the leftmost one because it doesn't know where you're going to put it in the consist. But then you can go back into edit and you can reorder it as you need. These will all be in order. It will just be that one that you've picked up. Yeah. So let's head down to Rockwood. Now, obviously, I don't have the layout in front of me. I've been playing with this a lot as if I've been operating a layout. So it is fun, even if you don't have a layout. But it has taught me a few things, quite interestingly. Before I build the layout, I already know where my bottlenecks are going to be. Before I've even built the layout, because I've been operating this, it's shown me there's a lot of stuff that's going to be here. I need to make sure that I've got enough runaround room for this particular location, and I've got enough places to put things if I want to do off spotting at this location. So it's quite interesting to have a play with this if you're building a layout and just see where your cars are all going to go, stuff like that. Anyway, so let's go from High Creek. Let's head down the line to Rockwood, and we click the location. Now, the system now believes we're at Rockwood subdivision. And what it's doing is it's giving us a mini switch list just for Rockwood. Okay, so this would be as if you're at a club layout or your own layout and you have physical car cards. You would pick up the cars that you're going to, the cards that you're going to be picking up at that location. As you see, they're all in green. There's no off spots here currently, and all the ones that we'll be setting out are in red.
Oh,
okay, so easy to see. And as you pick them up and drop them off, that switch list gets shorter and shorter until you've completed it and you're done. So the way we operate at our club layout. Oh, you got a question? Go for it, Mike. Here we go.
All right, so the way this is set up is the ones that are in green are basically your handful of car cards that you have in your physical train right then and there, correct? So like if these were
not the green ones.
Those are not the ones that just came out of the yard. Those are the ones you need. Oh no, those are the ones you need to pick up. The red ones are the ones that need to.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Now, is there a spot where you can go and click and say whatever the coal unloader or whatever industry that gets the coal, you can physically see and just click a button and say, here are my pickups, here are my setouts, without having to rifle through the list of car cards?
You can run a report. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The
Like
reports are not, run a report, print it off. The reports are when you click report, it will take a snapshot at this exact moment.
Okay.
So I think what you're trying to refer to is before you even leave for Rockwood, let me have a look and see what Rockwood's doing.
Like, what do you need to pick up? What do you need to set out?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that helps to plan your day.
Correct.
Knowing, and that's something we talked about.
Correct.
Is the fact that we talked about that before at length, actually, about the fact that about the fact that when in the real world application, whenever you have a job, it always knows what it's supposed to do with its train and at what industries or what locations. It knows all this ahead of time. It's not a show up and go do it thing.
Yeah.
Figure it out then. They know ahead of time. So you can do that just by simply running a report.
Yeah. And there's several ways you can do that as well. I will show that.
Okay.
But there's a you can run an entire report or there's a mini report that you can run as well, which I think you'll like. Just for that particular industry. So you can see
15
ahead.
minutes ahead then.
It's improving.
We're getting trained by the end of the night, Steve. I promise.
No, you won't. No, you won't. You've been trying for 4 flipping years to get me to be trained, and it hasn't worked yet.
Carry on, Steve, please.
So there is a way that you can do that, and that's again, it's V1 that we showed last time. Was basically replicating the car cards and waybills that we have at our club. Now, we don't do off-spotting, or I should say we didn't do off-spotting at our club prior to this, which is why it was never integrated in V1, because I just wanted to replace the physical car cards and waybills with a digital system. The whole off-spot thing was done ad hoc. So you would take a car with you. If it didn't fit, you would just off-spot it at the location and it would be fitted, whether you're allowed to off-spot or not. Okay, and I think that's where the system lacked at that point. And Mike quite rightly brought up, why would you take the car with you? And it was a good point. And it was like, we do. We don't run it 100% prototypically. That's how we run it. So that's what I replicated. Now Mike's chewed my ear about it. We've implemented it into the system. So it has improved it. So, but you'll see that it's... And also the whole algorithm that runs in the background, there's a lot of it's pretty much become its own AI in the background. And you can call it Ostertag AI if you wish, because it certainly
Please don't. Please don't.
Oh, we've plugged Mike into the matrix. I love it.
Yeah,
I am now.
I mean, it all happened because of you, Mike, because of your experience with real world and trying to bring that into the system. Oh man, it took on a whole life of its own. There's all these things that are being calculated in the background, and I'll go into what it's doing in the background. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just do some switching here. So first of all, I'm going to switch the coal unloading. As you see, these are all the cars, all the green ones are in coal unloading at the moment. So what I would do is I would go ahead and I would pick up car 901. And once I've actually pulled that out of coal unloading, I can just hit that button. And as you see, it disappears from the switch list and it goes into my consist. So I can go through all the cars that I need to pull from coal unloading, which I've now done. I can go to my consist of ones. Now I've pulled the cars out. all the ones that need to go in, and I can just set those out like so. So they will go in, and we can do the same with the lumberyard. Let's pull these two out of the lumberyard. Let's set these one out to the lumberyard, and then the food processing, etc., etc., and we're done. Okay, so I haven't had to deal with any cards. The system's taken care of everything. It knows how long those want to be in those particular spots, like where I dumped off at the lumberyard. When you set the waybill up, you tell it how long you want it to be in the lumberyard for until it's ready to be picked up again, and you can change that. There's a whole list of different timings you can do for that. And
is that by hour, or did you do that by hour?
No, it's done by cycles.
Oh, okay.
So one cycle would be me turning up is one cycle. Once I leave, and then the next train turns up to Rockwood, that's another cycle. So if you wanted something like an interchange yard or barge float like I do, and you wanted a very quick turnaround, you can actually set it to pick up on the next one. So for instance, if you wanted the lumberyard operating like that, those ones I've just dropped off at the lumberyard will then be picked up by the next incoming train. Yeah. So you can have it as a rapid one. You can leave it there for 6 turnarounds if you want. You know, for instance, I have operations where I take a car out of the system and put it into a rip track, and I want it to sit there for a long time. I want it to really screw everything up. So I have it sitting there for 6 cycles, and it won't throw it up as a pickup until those 6 cycles have completed, and then it'll say, okay, car's repaired. You can take it off and go deal with it now. So you can do all that. Again, that's all the what we showed you on the last podcast is how to set that up. I can briefly go through it as questions come in, but yeah, they're the basics of it. So we now have our 8 cars. Again, we can go into our consist and we can just check them if you wanted to. Now what's happened is it's disposed of the waybills. And again, you can set the system up how you want to deal with it. Like this one, as you see, it wants to get returned back to High Creek Yard without a waybill. If you don't want to do cars returning to a yard, you can actually set them to get a brand new waybill, and this will have a new location put on it. But I think most people work with yards, especially that want to do car cards. They want stuff returning back to a yard. So that's certainly how the real car cards work. I think all of these. Oh, there's one that isn't going back to the. Well, it's going back to the yard, but there's one that's got a new waybill. This gondola is going to go to Pine Hill Grab Loader with some food waste that it picked up at Rockwood. So what we can do is we'll do a turn at Rockwood. We hit the navigation, and we're going to head back to High Creek Yard. So we drive our train back to High Creek Yard. We click the button. Now, what's happened is as soon as we've arrived at High Creek Yard, the algorithm has now kicked in. It's sorting all the waybills out. It's trying to find the best waybill it can for that particular car. And then it's giving us another switch list for High Creek Yard, because High Creek Yard is not just a classification yard, but there are some industries at High Creek Yard as well. Now, if you wanted to operate it just as a classification yard, then all you would do is just not create any waybills for High Creek Yard. It would just be your train would arrive, and then you'd sort your train out from there, classifying it. So as you can see, we've got some pickups. There is one that's currently off spot at the rip track, because I already know there's one in the rip track, but we'll do a report on that. If you notice, before, the car cards just look like this. You would have where it's going to. Actually, this is not a good one because this is an empty one. But it would basically tell you where it's going to, what it's carrying, if it's carrying anything, and where it's currently located. So this one is basically returning empty to High Creek Yard. It's basically done its thing. It's empty now, and it's sitting at the cold store and warehouse. So I know. I'll have a look at the cold store and warehouse. Oh, there's 802. I need to pick that up, and I need to drop it into the empties track, right? Here's the new thing is, if you notice, there's a little report button here.
Yeah.
So what this is going to do is this is ready to be picked up. So I can just pick it up, but here's a little handy report button. Now, when there is a report button on the particular car, what that's going to do is it's going to have a look at the destination where it's going, right? So in this case, Pine Hill barge unloading. So if I run a report, it's going to do a report on the Pine Hill barge unloading track. And what this is doing is taking an exact snapshot of what's happening right now. So in this case, the barge at Pine Hill, its spot length is 158 feet. This is something that wasn't in the previous version, but it is now. Whether it has the ability to off-spot cars. How many cars are currently at the spot? As you see, there's only one car there. That car is 26 feet. Now, if you think it's only 26 feet, this is a narrow gauge layout. So this box cars and stuff are only 26 feet. How much space is available? Obviously, all that is the spot length minus the cars that are there, and it'll give you an actual size in feet of how much space is left. But then the algorithms, how many cars are ready for departure? Now, like I said before, is my barge track, I've set all the waybills that are going to the barge to instantly turn around. So basically, anything that's at the barge track, I know is going to be picked up, but the system will actually tell you that. So I know that there is one car ready to be picked up. And like you said, Mike, is how do I know what's going to happen before I get there? This is how you do it. This is just for that particular spot, not for the whole location, just that spot. So I know that there is basically one car going to be picked up, which is going to give me the whole 158 feet available. Now you think, well, hang on a minute. The estimated space on arrival is saying none because there are 9 cars that it's found on the system that are currently going to the barge track. Now, the reason for that is we've just come from Rockwood and it's processed some waybills and they're ready to be picked up, right? So the next train will be picking those up. So we know that we don't have to worry about these at the moment because they're not in transit. We really only have to worry about the ones that we currently have. Now, there's 3 here for Horseshoe that are coming from Horseshoe Falls to the barge track. And this comes down to your ops as well when you're doing a classification yard is, do I want to hold these in the yard? And this comes back to what Mike was saying before. You wouldn't take them with you. So do I want to hold these in the yard because there's not enough space at the track, right? Now, the one that I'm about to pick up is this one here, the High Creek Yard Cold Store and Warehouse. Okay, and it's got a little asterisk there because it's waiting to be picked up. It hasn't yet been picked up. And then I've got 2 in my classification main tracks that are ready to go. So really, these 3 are the only ones that are going to be coming with us. If we pick them up right now, if I pick this one up right now and classified it into the main track, there's only going to be 3 going in. So I know there is plenty of space at the track to take these 3 with me. If there was a train...
Okay, I get it now. All right, I was a little confused on this one. All right, so I see what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah, it's not usually as busy as this.
Yeah. This is
usually it would say there's 5 cars inbound. This is how much space is going to be available on arrival. So you know that you've got room to spot the car that you're currently carrying. And you'll see that. I'll do another report on another one. So, for instance, I know that 6 cars will fit at the barge loading track. If you were going to set, before you went to Pine Hill, if you were going to do a run to Horseshoe Falls, so your yard guy, your yard manager would say, right, we're actually going to run that Horseshoe Falls train. So these 3 are going to be coming back to the yard in a minute before we do the mainline run. So I know I can quite comfortably take those 6 cars with me on the mainline run.
I see. So basically you can take a look at your report and see how much space you have available on your inbound track.
Yep.
And then you can game it to say, okay, so I'm taking those 3 cars to High Creek Yard anyway. But I can also do those 3 Horseshoe Falls cars now as well.
Yeah. So so if you've got someone, say, operating a yard and they're in control of what trains go out and what trains come into their yard, or you have a dispatcher, they can use this information to their advantage to say, okay, we can run the Horseshoe Falls train knowing that these 3 coming back are going to fit in the main line for the next main line out. All right.
Yeah.
And you can say, right, the Horseshoe Falls is going to run first. It's going to come back. I'm going to build up the mainline train, and then that's going to head out. But if you said, no, the mainline train's going to head out without the Horseshoe Falls train, then I know I'm only going to be taking 3 with me. Okay. So
Interesting.
you don't have to use all that. It's there if you need it. Right. So I know that barge loading is fine. I can go into the cold store and warehouse and pick 127 up. There we go. Now we've got it on board. Again, we can do, there's a tank car loader at Pine Hill. I can do a report on that. And it's only doing this particular spot. So this one, here's one. So the tank car loader is only 26 feet. It only has a spot for one car. But you can off spot there because there's a nice long lead up to it, to the spot. I can take it with me and I can spot it if I want. Or in your ops, you say, well, I don't want to be off spotting. I want to hold it back to the yard until that spot is available. Okay. And remember, because there's an algorithm giving all the waybills to particular cars, it knows now that this car is an inbound to the tank car loading spot. So it will take that into consideration when it's giving out new waybills.
So even if it's off spot, it'll know that
it's inbound.
It's inbound to that location and
correct
that spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's good.
Just a question.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think it might be a good idea to add the amount of feet available at the off spot so that way you can only put X number of cars in there? That way you're not bringing more than you need with you, and you end up taking 5 cars with you when you only have room to off spot 2.
Right. Okay. Those kind of inputs, as you were, start to go into other pieces of software that overwhelms people when it comes down to how much information you're going to put into the system. However, you know how many cars are inbound, including ones that are already off spotted.
Yeah.
So you can say there's already too many off spots. Let's just hold this back in the yard until that's cleared down a bit, and then we'll take it with us.
Remember when, Mike, when we did that Tony Pellegrino's Illinois Central operating session?
Yeah.
And he had it all set up, right?
Right.
When we took our train out from the yard, he knew that there were only
X number of cars a room in certain spots, and
exactly.
Yada, yada.
Yep. And same with the off spot, right? So he didn't give us the yard didn't have when the yard put the train together, they didn't give us a full train of 8 off spots and only 2 off spots left, right? So he knew that if you could only do 1 or 2 off spots, and that's all they put on the train. So I think, go ahead, Mike. You're giving me the one finger.
Nope. I got to go find something. I'm going to show you something. It's something. I got to pick it. It's
so then, Steve, that would be more along the how you would set up the operating session. Then it wouldn't be just you're not letting the system just run random or run roughshod over your layout.
Yeah.
You have some control.
Yeah. Here's the problem with that.
Randy was my engineer on that job. Yes, we had crazy off spots.
Right. So that's the point, is where are all the off spots for every industry?
Yep.
Do I want to give everyone all this information that they have to input? It was decided that wasn't really that important because you've got the information to work from. Right?
Right.
So the system doesn't need to know how much off spot is available. That's down to you as an operator. And that's where the interest comes in, is right. What am I going to do with this? Am I going to take it with me? Is there room, or shall I leave it in the yard?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think that I kind of like that because, you again get to have that bit of control when you set up the operating session.
Yeah. Now, before the waybill is actually issued, Ostertag AI already knows.
I love this. This is great.
It already knows there's off-spot cars.
Yeah.
So what it's going to do is it's going to deprioritize that waybill. Now, the fact that we can off-spot means that it may get a waybill. because it knows that you can off spot. So it's not the end of the world if it gets a waybill, but let's see if we can find something a bit better for this car.
Okay, sure.
Right. So
Yeah.
it will find something that is, again, it's still only using the amount of waybills that you set. It's not going to give out more than you've set. Okay. It's gonna wait and see how many are available. And I'll go into how it finds all those. But so what it's going to do is say, right, this is a tank car, right? I've got 3 tank car waybills left, right? 2 of them are for the tank car loader at Pine Hill. Now, there's no space left at the tank car loader at Pine Hill, but I can off spot. So it's going to go, that's not really applicable. Let's see if we can find a better waybill. And it will search the system. And all this happens in a nanosecond. It will search the system for other waybills for a tank car to see if it can give it something better that's easily going to go in a spot. If it can't, it will fall back and say, okay, assign this one. It needs to go anyway. There is a waybill for it. And then I'll leave that assigned to that car. And then you can either take it with you if you want to off spot it, or you can leave it in the yard if you don't want to off spot it. And that would be your decision as the layout owner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if there were no off spots available, the system's just going to flat out say, I can't assign this because there's no room for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this tank car empty to go into the yard, which is why we're now getting empty cars. Yeah.
Okay, I see now. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And it does all that in the background for you. You don't have to do anything. I mean, once you've told it that, and you can tweak it. If you say, well, hang on a minute, I want it to get that waybill, you can actually turn things on and off to say, no, just issue it anyway. Don't just ignore that. Yeah. And I'll show you how to change that. But let's pick this tank car up, unless Mike specifically needs me to not pick it up. Okay. I'll wait.
All right. Let's share screen.
I'm actually glad I'm seeing some of these box cars come up empty, because that's something that I deleted, because I wanted the box cars to come up empty so I can show you how to deal with too many empties.
Well, Mike looks this up here.
No, I got it. All I'm doing is changing cameras. I just want to see if I can do this. Look at that.
You want me to put
you? Yes. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty?
Okay.
Hold on.
That's analog, right?
This is the real deal here. Okay.
Yeah.
Right here. Oh, wait a minute. You can see this now, right?
Yep.
I think so.
All right. Banta. At Banta. Right here. Track 861, which is this track right here.
I can't see you pointing. Are you pointing at the screen, Mike, and not the paper?
What? My little cursor thingy?
No. No.
Oh.
No, you'll have to put your finger out on the paper.
Analog, Mike. Okay. Analog.
So 861 right here.
Yep.
I forgot I was using. Okay. So 861.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
One outside on spot.
Yep.
One outside the door. Right here.
Gotcha.
2 inside on spot. Two. Spots 2 and 3.
Yep.
So you got 1 outside, 2 and 3 outside.
Gotcha.
0 off spot holds 3 cars.
Gotcha.
It tells you how many cars the off spot can hold.
Gotcha.
This is a Wisconsin Central track chart, a zone track spot deal, where, like, here's another one. Central paper right here. This is in Menasha, Central paper. Track 837 has 4 on spots. Number 1 is for a box car. 2 through 4 are tank cars, right?
Yep.
0 holds 3 cars.
Gotcha.
So before you get to that industry or even leave the yard, you know how many off spots that track will hold.
Yep.
It's not, and it's physically given to you. Not I just got to remember it holds this. So you see what I mean? So that's why I'm saying, like, with your what you call it there, your off spot location,
yep,
having the footage there really, really could help, because that way you know what footage you have available. And then when you go and have when you go and have a car that's going into spot from an off spot, that footage is deducted or increased, so that way you know how much. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. You can still do that, though. You can still have your local maps of where the off spots are for particular industries. And then the report will tell you how many cars have been spotted and how many are off spot. So you know how many are already sitting there off spot.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. And so I'm going to fully contradict you, because I have industry charts for like the C&W.
You're contradicting me.
Yeah, they don't have
but
that
that's
level
the Northwestern.
But I'm just saying, Mike. Not every railroad is the same, right? So they don't have that detailed schematic.
So is that something you could add? Like have a checkbox, add footage for off spot? I
can. It's so like I say, what the problem I've found with it is that there is other software that does that. And when people start inputting their parameters of track length and all this kind of stuff, it puts people off. Some people want to do it, but it puts people off. And there's just too much information. They get overwhelmed. At the end of the day, what my system will do is, if you don't want to do all of this, you don't have to. If you leave the track length to 0, the system will consider it as you just want as many cars to go there as you want, and you're going to deal with the consequences of that. Because some people don't want to deal with it. Some people don't want to have track lengths, right? And the system will see, I've got unlimited length of things here. I can just send all the way bills I want to this particular spot, right? Now, like I say, when it comes to off spotting, you can have your local diagrams like you've got for that spot. Say, right, we've got this industry. It can handle 3 off spots, and that's it. No more than 3. You can run a report as a yardmaster when you're building or classifying the train, how many cars are going to go with you after the report's been run and you've built your train, depending on how many off spots. So if you, like you say, if you've got 3 cars at an industry that are being currently either loaded or unloaded, and there's 2 waiting to go into one of those 3 spots, the report will say how many cars are waiting off spot, how many cars are currently at the industry, how many cars are about to leave the industry. So now you can work out, right, the 2 that are off spot are going to be able to be spotted once we get there.
Right.
Which means those 3 off spot spots that we have are then going to be freed up. So I can take another 3 cars with me, right? But that is for you to design into your ops system. This is taking care of the way bills and car cards for you.
I got
you would say, right, but I've given the tools now to be able to do that. So if you wanted to go real deep into prototypical operations, you can run a report and say, right, this is exactly, what I need to do, etc., etc. And I'm going to show the report, so don't worry.
Yeah, let's take a
So let me just, I just showed you briefly about the tank car. So let's pick that up. There's an empty one that's going to go.
Just FYI, it's just your face on the screen. So
gotcha.
Not that we don't, we're not fans of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, give me a right. Okay.
Yeah.
So like I say, that I'll just do another one. Remember, these are just the mini reports, Mike. These are not your full reports. These are just a quick click. I need to find out, say I'm classifying right now. I'm going to pick this car up and I want to classify it straight away. Should I put it in the Rockwood sub-classification track, or should I put it in the overflow to go another time? So I can do a quick report on the wood shop and say, right, the wood shop is 105 feet long. You can't off spot there. There are no off spots available. There are currently no cars in the wood shop. So it's got a full 105 feet. There are 2 cars inbound. So I know that I need to have space for 2 cars. And this is saying with the 2 cars that are inbound, you're going to have 79 feet of space to fit your car. So if you've got a 40-foot, a 50-foot car, you know that it can quite safely fit into that spot and you can take it with you. So we can go, great. So I'm going to pick this one up and I can put it in quite safely. I can put it into the Rockwood classification track ready to go. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is what I'm saying is the system doesn't need to know about the off spots. It needs to know if you can or can't off spot when it comes to assigning waybills. And that's just it. It just needs to know, should I give this car a waybill because you've already got off spots? Or if you don't allow off spots, it's going to flat out reject giving it a waybill for that particular spot because it knows the spot's already full up. You don't allow off spotting at this place. Don't give it a waybill. Now, there might be a few that slip through the crack because of various things that are going on the layout. It's not 100% perfect, but more than likely it will skip giving it a waybill. Yeah. Same thing for the machine shop. Is there's one car there, it's not leaving. There are no off spots available. Here's a prime example. Is there are no off spots available? There's a car already there, and it's not about to leave. So this particular car, I wouldn't put into the mainline classification track because there's no room for it. So I would then pick that car up, and I would drop that into the overflow track to be put on another outbound mainline train that can accommodate that. Yeah. Makes sense. Right. Let's just classify these, and I'll show people how we classify trains, and then we'll go into how do we fix these problems of, there's not enough waybills, or, let's do some reports and figure out exactly what's going on. So I would go into my consist. Remember, we can reorder these if you wanted.
Yep.
I'm just quickly going to show you how to classify. So this boxcar is holding yard empty. So again, this is something that wasn't available in V1. There's basically not enough boxcar waybills. Now, when you've got a physical car card system, you'll see that you've run out. So obviously you haven't got enough boxcar waybills. Well, what waybills can I make? Right. And we're going to do some reports and figure out, hey, I want to make enough waybills for boxcars that are going to be able to go out. Now, there's probably enough waybills, but like I say, if the industry that it's destined to go to is full up, it's not going to assign the waybill because you can't take it with you because it's just no point giving it the waybill. So you can create more waybills, more suited for your layout if you want all the cars to be busy and going out. So for this moment, I'm going to park this in my empties track, which is this one here, and off it goes. Rockwood, I can classify that into the Rockwood subclassification track. Again, we showed all this on the last one, so I'm just going to flick over it. Horseshoe Falls. This one's going to Horseshoe Falls. I'm not going to check whether it can go there because, and then these are all for the main line. So you don't have to switch each individual one. For instance, my entire consist now of 9 cars is all for the main line. So instead of me clicking each one, if I know they're all good to go, I can just go into consists. There's my consists, and I can park the entire consist in the classification main, and boom, there it goes. And it's added it to the cars that are already in the classification main.
Oh, so now you just, so you don't have to go and do onesies. You can bulk load them all into the
whole lot.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the basics of what we went through before, with the little added feature of doing reports. Now, let's have a look at some reports, shall we? So the reason why I would look at reports now, if I go into my location cars, which is showing me every single car that's at High Creek Yard, whether it's in an industry or whether it's been classified. The ones that have been classified are in blue, and the ones that are in industry are usually grey because they're sitting in an industry processing. It says how long they've been processing, so when they'll be available. But my concern at the moment is trying to find all my empties. So I'm going to have a look through here. That's good to go. Here's some empties here. So see these 3 box cars, is they're sitting in my classification empties track because there are no waybills available for a box car. So we've obviously got an imbalance because it's run out of waybills for box cars. So how's it going to deal with that? So what I can do is I can go into the waybills themselves, and find out what we actually have available. So if I go into my waybills tab,
right. That's right.
go
Yep.
into my edit existing, I want to find all my boxcar waybills, and there you go. It's listed. There's quite a few there. It's found all the waybills that are associated with boxcars. Now, if you look, it will tell you how many are remaining out of the waybills that are assigned in the system. Because don't forget, they run out. And when the system completely runs out of waybills, it reshuffles them all and pumps them all back in, right?
Right.
So that prevents it from giving, like, this particular one only has 2 waybills. Now, we don't want this at any one time to be assigned to 4 cars, right? We strictly want it only going to 2, right?
Right.
So, but it's already done that. So it's not going to assign anymore because you've specifically said, I only want 2 cars going to this particular.
You only have, and you got 0 remaining.
I've got
right?
0 remaining, which
Right.
is why these box cars are starting to end up empty, because the system is saying, I can't assign anymore.
Right.
So here's an example. We've actually got ceramic goods for a box car, which is destined to go to Pine Hill, Harold and James, and it's coming back to High Creek Yard, and it's going to be put in the cold store and warehouse. Well, there's 1 remaining. So why has that not been given to a car, right? You think, well, hang on, that's an available waybill. So this is where the reports would come in. Now, I can actually give you guys a link so you can actually follow along.
Yes.
Yes. Where do I put that? Just in the...
You can throw it right in the chat. Post a comment.
I'll just do it in the YouTube one. Would that work? Or would that?
Yeah,
not
that would be perfect.
to do?
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
So does
We
that
can
work?
grab it from there.
That's not a link. Can you linkify that?
I'll try.
Maybe because I'm not an operator or something. So, but anyway, that's basically going to give you a report. Now I can do that on my system by going to reports, and we've got all these lovely reports that we can do now. So I can do a car report, which basically shows you, and I think Mike mentioned this last time, is can I do an inventory of all my cars? And that's what this report will do. It will give you a full list of all your cars on the layout, the details about the car, where they currently are, what they're currently carrying, what they're doing, etc. I'll just give you a quick show of that. So there you go. There's a full report of all the cars on the layout. So it shows you the car number, the road name, what type of car it is, where it currently is, how long it's basically been sitting there, or whether it's due to go out to be picked up, whether it's so this has been only just been set out, and the estimated time of departure is 1 cycle. So I know that's going to sit there for another cycle before it's due to be picked up. This flat car, for example, is actually it's classified. It's sitting in the Horseshoe Falls classification track. So that is marked as parked, right? So it will show you exactly what's happening with every single car. So if you're looking for a particular car, you can find it in this report. And it will across the entire layout. So it doesn't matter whether it's parked, off spot, in an industry, doesn't matter. You'll find your car there.
So that's kind of like a master list then.
Yes.
I love this. In case, like, we have a fun session down here, we don't, we just want to run some trains and move some cars around. But now I can take this and go back and be like, hey, I got to put all these cars back, if we're going to have a legit operating session again.
You could do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you wanted to. Yeah. I mean, that's a real pain in the butt for anyone, but yeah, you could do that.
Well, when you got kids that are running your layout, that stuff happens.
Well, no, I mean, for instance, and it's not
or
human
if I
errors.
show up.
Yeah. That human errors are not removed from the system. They are certainly reduced a hell of a lot, because it takes all the card, misplacing cards, etc. It takes all of that out, and it will completely take care of that. But you never know. Someone might turn up to a yard with a car, and they'll go, "Oh, yeah, I've got this car here, but it's not showing me on my consist me having that car." It may be that they didn't press pickup when they're at the location, right? And this, let me find the car for you. You can go and find the car. Yep, you left it behind, and you can either you can reposition that car in the system, or you can physically take the car out of their consist and go put it back where it's supposed to be, right? It's up to you how you want to deal with that kind of situation. But this report basically gives you all that information to deal with.
That's pretty
Now, the one I've just thrown into the chat is the industry. No, sorry, it's the industry report. The industry usage report. I'll come back to, but it basically shows you
again. I don't think it went through. Mike,
Really?
did you get it in your chat?
What's that?
The
they might have blocked
link.
it. They might have blocked
Link.
it. Hang on. So I pressed join the chat, right?
Yeah, and then just
Connect.
put a comment
Oh,
in.
geez, what's going on? Choose an account. Can I just send it to you in Facebook?
Yeah, you could do that, and then I could post it. That'd be easy.
That'd be a lot easier.
Yes, 100%. Let's do that.
Okay, there you go. That should say industry report, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Right. So what that's going to do, that the usage report basically takes every time you set out a car, whether it's moving it from an off spot into an industry or just flat out setting out, it will log it. And this industry usage report shows you that log, basically. So you can see every single operation that you've done in a report. Yeah. And we'll come back to how that's going to be useful when I figure out why my box cars aren't getting waybills. But what we're looking at is this industry report, which is this one here.
Yeah. Let me see if I'm going to pull that up here because I want to play along.
Yeah, this is a snapshot right now.
Yep.
Of what I'm doing. Now, every single operator to your layout can access this report. Right? So they're not going to mess your system up. It just basically gives them information. The car report and the industry usage report are the layout owners only. They don't get that information. That's just for you as a layout owner because you don't want people.
Oh, and I can print it.
And you can print it, yeah. So this is basically telling us, now you'll notice, say, oh, well, hang on, I've got 100, 150 cars on my layout. Why are they not all here? Well, some of them may well be, actually, no, sorry, they will be shown as off spot. I correct myself, or park. So it should actually have every single one you have on your layout. It won't show cars that are currently in transit. That will be on the inbound report, but we'll come to that. So this is showing you basically every single industry you have on your layout that has cars in. Now, if you think, hang on, there's an industry that's missing from this list, it's because it's empty, right? It's just showing you cars that are parked, and it will show you. Let's go to, for instance, Rockwood subdivision where we've just been. So the food processing warehouse at Rockwood, you can see there are 3 cars there. There are 2 reefers and 1 box car. And you can see that on the next train that's going to arrive at Rockwood is going to have to pick up that reefer 124 from the food processing warehouse. And this is what Mike was going on about, is I need to know before I take the train, what's the situation at Rockwood, right?
Right.
And this will give you that. So all of them that say preparing for pickup are the ones that the system has now dealt with, and they're going to be thrown as a pickup when you arrive at Rockwood. So you can actually see how many you're going to have to pick up. Any that you're not going to have to pick up will show as an estimated time of departure. So you know that's going to have to wait another one. And I think there's no like long, lengthy ones there. So they're all going to sit there for one cycle. So is that kind of what you're on about, Mike, is being able to see exactly what's happening at somewhere before you get there?
We get what's called a work order. So we know all the work prior to even go. We know what cars gets picked up, what cars get set out.
Right.
We know what spots. We know everything.
Yeah.
Prior to and then whatever cars are in the yard for us, like we have a specific track. So that specific track, it's already designated. We already know what cars we need to grab out of that track, and then we go and make up our train just with those cars.
Yeah.
And then off we go. And then we line the train up in order to be able to go and do all of that right then and there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or as we go. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what a switch list does, though, right?
Well, that's exactly what it is.
Right. This is cars and waybills. This is now.
But still, even at that, if you have the ability to know, like, okay, so like on Luke Lemon's layout, he uses physical car cards and stuff.
Yeah.
Typically, like if I'm on a job, you don't typically know until you get to that town what you're supposed to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but the tracks are set up in such a way that you're only doing this work on this track.
Right.
In that direction. On the way back, you have to work the other 2 tracks.
But on his layout, how do you know that ahead of time?
I usually walk around.
Yeah,
I walk the layout.
That's how it was in V1.
Right.
Yeah.
You could do it, go ahead. This is making it a little bit more prototypical in the fact that you don't have to go walk around. You run a report, have a look at Rockwood. I'm going to run the Rockwood train. I want to know the situation in Rockwood and what's ready to go and what cars are already there. Is it, how busy is it? Is there any off spots sitting there waiting to go in? All that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
So that is currently giving you a snapshot of all the industries at whatever place you want to look at. This is the whole layout. So you just scroll down to whatever you want. And like Andy said, you can print it off if you want to. Some people are into that, and you can hand it to a yard guy. But remember, as soon as people start setting out and picking up, this report's going to change.
Right.
And you'll see when we do one, it will fit. You can refresh it and it will physically change. Now, the other report that I need to know, because that just tells me what's there. It doesn't tell me what's going there. So Andy, I'm going to give you another link.
Okay.
And this one's called an inbound report. Which is this one called inbound waybills.
Copy link.
I'll let Andy do that so everyone can follow along.
Yeah, this is kind of cool because you get to play with the report.
And we're gonna fix the problem of I don't have any boxcar waybills right now. We're gonna fix that using these reports. But the reason why I wanted everyone to see it, because I want you to read and say, here's a good one, and maybe you can give me an idea of what I need to do. So so the inbound report looks like this. Now this is a snapshot of kind of the opposite of what I've just showed you. That showed you the cars that are already there. This shows you a report of every single car on the layout that is inbound to a particular location. So if I again go down to Rockwood, we're going to run the Rockwood train, right? I can see all the cars that are inbound to Rockwood, regardless of where they are on the layout. So for instance, the lumberyard, you can see there's 3 cars here heading from Horseshoe Falls. There's 2 going into the lumberyard, and there's 1 going into the meat packers. Right? So that, Andy, Mike, you can say, I know how many cars are there. I know how many cars are going to be leaving, and I know how many cars are heading there. So using that information that you're now given, you can work out as a yardmaster whether a particular car is going to go or whether it's going to stay in the yard. Yeah. But I say you can do individual reports. You don't have to pull up this full report. This is if you want to really dive deep. You don't have to do any of this, by the way. The cars and waybills are all taken care of for you. But like I say, you can actually go into, let's go to location cars. Like I say we're going to take the Rockwood train. Let's have a look at the Rockwood sub cars here. I can actually just do individual reports quickly. Right. The wood shop, that's good to go. The log loadout. There's no space there, so we're going to have to clear out some of those, right? Or do we need to clear out some of those? How much space have I got? So there's 15 spots. There's 5 cars ready. Wait, that ain't Rockwood. That's Horseshoe Falls. Sorry. Say we're doing a Horseshoe Falls train. So I know that there's 15 cars are capable of sitting at this spot. It can handle off spots. There's 5 cars ready to go. So in that theory, really, I should only be taking 5 cars with me. If there's 5 ready to pick up, I can replace those 5 that are ready to pick up with 5 that are going in or I can make the decision to off spot the others, because it tells you there are 7 cars inbound, and it says there is no estimated space on arrival because there's an overflow of cars going to that place. So it's giving you the information, and because you've told it I allow off spots at this place, you can decide. You see this top one here, it says currently off spot at Horseshoe Falls. So you know there's already one at Horseshoe Falls in the off spot position. And like you said earlier, if I only allow 3 off spot positions, using this information, I can decide whether I have enough space to off spot what I'm taking. Right? So I don't have to define that in the software at all. The software doesn't need to know, because all it's doing is you've told it, yes, give it a waybill, because I do allow off spotting, and then you can either take it with you and off spot it, or as a yardmaster, you can run a simple report like this on each car and say, right, yeah, we got to pull this one out. There's not enough room for it. So what I could do as a yardmaster, I know that there's no room for this, so I can pull that car. It's now in my consist, and I can then park that in my overflow.
Oh,
and that will sit there and wait. Now it's been pulled from the Horseshoe Falls train because you don't want to off spot it.
yeah. So basically, then while you're in your, let's say, staging yard or classification yard, you have the option then as like the yard master to say, okay, we don't have enough room out there on the layout for these cars.
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave these ones behind in my special area, or the basically
Overflow,
the overflow could be the drawer under the layout or whatever, right? In your staging yard.
Yeah,
Potentially.
technically,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
To make up another car later on. Yeah. You
yeah,
can do it like that.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot, because then you're just not overwhelming the layout with cars. That's a good feature.
Well,
I like
again, it's if you're overwhelming the layout with cars, you'll soon find out, because you will see that there's chaos going on. Now, actually, that brings me to the next one. I haven't created a link for this one, but let me just show you this one really, which is the industry usage report. This is for layout owners only. Remember, the industry report and the inbound reports, they are available for all operators on the layout, regardless of their position. These two are extras for the layout owner, because they're really only specific when you're trying to design your system and doing a deep dive. So let me just show you the industry usage report, which is this one here. Let me just refresh that, make sure it's up to date. So what this is going to do is, say you have 100 cars on your layout. This is going to log 200 operations, so basically double the amount of cars. And it's going to then give you that information as a perpetual running total. So if I do another 3, the last 3 are going to be knocked off, and you'll always get a perpetual 200 operations. Now, let's go back to Rockwood again and find out what Rockwood's been doing. So this is telling me that Rockwood has served in the last 200 cars, 57 cars in total. So you know how busy Rockwood is compared to the rest of the layout.
That's kind of cool.
And then it breaks down further as to which specific industry has had which specific cars. So the coal unloading has had a total of 22 cars out of those 57 that have arrived. 22 of them have gone into coal loading. And then it'll also show you how many waybills you have for coal unloading. So I've only got one waybill. There's 21. So you know that's actually been recycled, right? The food processing warehouse, we've got several different cars that go there. We've got 5 reefers, 3 box cars, and 1 gondola. Remember, this is how many have been set out at that location. Yeah, so how many it's served. And again, it will show you how many waybills. So using this report, you can find out where your imbalance is. Like I know, for instance, the power plant isn't very busy at all. Okay. It's only got 1 spot. It's only dealt with 1 spot, but there are 3 waybills in total that go to the power plant. So I know that, that's not being overloaded. There's 3 is fine for, a running session. And I know that coal loading is very busy, and there's 21 waybills in total. So I know that that's a good balance. Now, if you saw that there were way too many cars going to coal loading, you can use this information to dial it down. Yeah, you can either give it less waybills for coal loading or give it more waybills for somewhere else to diversify your hopper operations. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So I don't want all my hoppers going to coal loading. I want them going elsewhere, just maybe a little bit. Maybe I only need like 5. So you can now make a waybill for the hoppers, sending 5 somewhere else. And it doesn't mean that all 5 are going to go. It means that during the process of assigning waybills, randomly, those 5 are going to be given to other cars. So it's going to slowly diminish the amount of cars going to coal loading and balance your system a bit better. Yeah. So am I going too fast, by the way, or are you getting it?
I think it's starting to make sense.
Right. It's like I say,
like some of the things that you've implemented into the thing. For me, it's just I don't know how much I would ever use half of these reports.
Right, they're there if you need them. People have asked for these specific reports. Like Paul, for example, he loves reports. He loves sitting there looking at data. They're there if you need it, right? You don't have to use it. They're specifically going to be for people who love running yard ops and they want to really dive deep into where all the cars are going, where they currently are. So if you've got a yard operator, they can go on their device and they can run that report and say, right, let's build a Rockwood train. How many have we got at Rockwood? How many are ready to be picked up? How many have we got going in from other places? Well, they haven't arrived yet, so we can ignore those for the minute. Right, let's build Mike a train to take to Rockwood. And from that information, they can create a train specific for Rockwood subdivision with the correct amount of cars and put that in a Rockwood track for you to take. You wouldn't have to worry about it. Again, in our club layout, we do our own classifying. So I would use that myself. We don't have a yard operations job. I would make my own train. So I would then decide which cars I'm going to take with me, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Again, if the whole report is overwhelming, you can do it like I did it last time by just running individual reports on individual locations. You can just quickly flick through them. You can do that when you've picked a car up as well. So, for instance, let's pick up the Horseshoe Falls consist here. Once I've picked it up in my consist, you can still run the reports within your consist. Yeah, it's just exactly the same thing. So I can look, for example, the wood chip loading here. I can run a report on that, and I can see straight away, without even leaving the yard, that there are no cars at the wood chip loading. So I know that one car I'm taking has enough room to fit that. Yeah. So you don't have to look if it's too overwhelming to look at an entire report. You can just do it on an individual car,
right,
and do it that way.
Right.
Yeah. Same with the log loadout. That's kind of busy there. We saw that before, the 15 cars, etc., etc. So you can take it and off spot it or do whatever you want with it. The information is there for you to decide how you want to run your ops on your layout, and that's what it's all there for. Now, this information, the off-spotting information, is up to you whether you want to use that or not. If I just show you how that works. So let's go to tracks first. Let's go to Rockwood food processing. Right. So if you remember before, when you're inputting tracks or editing a track, you would literally just have a spot name and that was it.
Yep.
Well, now we've added a spot track or size limit and whether off spots are available or not.
Right.
And like we were saying earlier, is, it's as simple as just flicking a switch. Yeah, I don't have to specify how many off spots I have because I can work that out using the report. So I can decide whether we're going to take it to off spot it or we're going to hold it back in the yard. But this is for the system to decide whether it's going to give that waybill to the car in the first place. Is if you have off spots switched off and the place is already full up, the system is going to not give that particular car a waybill because it's going to go, well, I can't give it a waybill because you don't allow off spot at this place. It's going to sit there empty until we've got enough space for it to go. And that calculates it based on the track size limit. Yeah. So if you set that which is the default, when you start train waybills, all of your tracks are set to 0 feet. That basically means it's unassigned. So you don't have to worry about any of the stuff that I'm talking about right now. If you just want to operate trains, you want your waybills taken care of, out of the box, train waybills will do that for you. This is for like your advanced users that want to get a bit more prototypical, etc., etc. So you would put your track limit. Based on the track limit, the system would then decide whether there's room for it to go or not. And then your off spot will be decided, do I want to give it a waybill or do I not want to give it a waybill? Yeah. Because even if it's full and you've got off spots available, it's still going to assign the waybill. It's going to look for a better one. Like I said before, there's an algorithm that goes on. I'm not going to call it AI. There's an algorithm that goes on in the background and it says, okay, I've grabbed a waybill. Is this applicable for this car? Is it good enough for this car? If there's no off spots available, I'm not going to give it to the car because he doesn't want off spots. Or it's full up, but he allows off spots. So let me see if I can find a better one. If I can't find a better one, then I'm going to give this one to the car. And all this happens in a nanosecond when it's assigning waybills. Yeah. So you can tweak the probability of it getting a waybill or not. And you do that for every single track on your layout. I say you don't have to. Some of them I've just left as 0. All your classification ones would be 0, by the way, because you're not sending waybills there. So the other thing that takes into effect that we added is this strict off spots. Now, so when I first designed this, the algorithm was kind of being not good enough because what it was looking at is the next destination. When it's giving a waybill, it's saying, right, this is going to go to the food factory. How busy is the food factory right now? Right? If it's not busy at all, it would give a waybill to that car and off the car would go. What it didn't look into is where's it going to go after the food factory? Is that already clogged up? Is that likely to be empty by the time I get there? So we've given it basically 2 positions. Strict off spots means that it's going to look at not only where the car is going, but also its next destination. So if your layout is really, really busy, you can basically enable that and it will soften how often that waybill is going to appear on that car. If you're finding that the problem with that is it's not giving hardly any waybills because everything's too full up, or it seems to think, you can basically put it in a lighter mode, which means it's only going to look at the next destination. It doesn't care where it's going after that.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, it's just a switch. It's not overcomplicating it. It's just like,
right.
Do I want it to be really strict or do I want more waybills and I deal with them myself?
Okay, so all right, so is this basically your cars are all on the layout?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no off layout destinations such as
staging yards,
like your staging yards and things like that.
Yeah, you can assign a waybill to a staging yard, but because you don't put in the track length for the staging yard, it's not really going to worry too much about that. Yeah.
Okay, because what about if a car comes out of whatever industry and is destined for the IHB in Chicago?
Right.
What does it do once it gets to staging? That card should flip automatically to show it how it go to its next destination when it comes back on the layout, right?
Yes. Yeah. As soon as it arrives at the staging yard, it will sort the waybill. So it will either remove it and assign it with a new waybill if the car's going back there, or it will put the waybill into its next cycle as to its next destination. It will do all that automatically.
So So can you actually do things like a Stevens Point West, when it gets to Stevens Point, turns into a Nina, and goes to this industry.
So Stevens
And
Point is a staging yard, correct?
That would be staging.
Yeah.
So when
yeah,
a
of
train
course.
goes from Fond du Lac or from Neenah,
Yeah.
it's billed as a Stevens Point West, which means
Yep.
it's going to go beyond Stevens Point at one point.
Yeah.
Once it gets into your staging,
hmm
it actually reverts back into a Neenah to go
Mhm.
back to where it came from,
Yeah.
as an
Yeah.
or to a different place in Neenah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that would be, you would define that in the waybill itself.
Okay.
So you would hang on, I can show you, can't I? So when you're designing your waybill, say it's a box car. So I want to basically have this pick something up at a specific location.
Okay.
I then want to take that to, let's say High Creek Yard is a staging yard. It's not a classification. I want to send that to High Creek Yard,
Okay.
which is technically going off your layout. It won't have a spot allocated because it's a staging yard. You'd then give it the commodity that you want to take it. It's going to be beer, right? Once it arrives there, it's going to do its next instruction. In this case, because you haven't given it another instruction, it's going to remove the waybill and it's going to assign it with a new waybill that's going from staging elsewhere.
Okay.
Unless you want to specify another location. For example, I can have something going from Pine Hill, picking something up, going to High Creek Yard, going to your offstage staging, then from offstage staging back onto the layout to another industry on the same waybill. If it's part of the same process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you might have like less than carload going off stage, picking something else up, coming back, or maybe some machinery goes off stage, gets repaired and comes back, but it gets delivered to another spot to be commissioned or something. Yeah. So that's up to you to design the waybill, and you can do up to 6 instructions. So you can have it going from yard to yard on the layout, getting picked up again, taken to another yard again. You can do any of that, what you want to do, anything you want to do. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So one of the things I wanted to do, like we said, if we go back to our empties here, we've got box cars. I started to say it, but then got sidetracked. So we got box cars. I don't have these haven't been assigned because there's not enough. So I just want to quickly show you how you can fix issues on your layout. So I want to look at waybills. Let's have a look at available. Look, there's 2 available here, right? So we need to figure out why this didn't go onto a box car, right? So I'm just going to make a note that we're looking to figure out why our box cars are all coming back empty and not getting waybills. Now, this one is going to Rockwood Subdivision Wood Shop, right? So now I need to use the reports. Remember, this is when you're designing your waybills, or you have some issue with the layout. Is a lot of cars are not getting waybills. I want to fix that. I want to try and make it a bit more smoother operating. I want to know why this one didn't get assigned, because it obviously didn't get assigned. So we'd use the reports, and everyone can follow along here. Rockwood Subdivision Wood Shop. Why did it not get assigned? So we go into our the first one, the industry report, and I look at Rockwood Subdivision Wood Shop. Is currently not on there, so it's empty, right? So okay, so it should have assigned it, right? Because it's empty. It should go there. So now we're going to have a look at our inbound report for Rockwood to the wood shop. Okay, there's 2 inbound. Now I know that the wood shop has 4 spots. So again, if there's only 2 currently inbound, the system should have seen that and said, well, I've got another 2 spots I can fill. So why don't you give that box car a waybill? Now, it didn't give it that waybill. If you remember I said about the strict waybills? I have that switched on.
The strict off.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. Strict off spot.
I'm paying attention.
I have that switched on, which means it's not just looking at its destination. It's look at where it's going after that. So we need to look at that now. So this is going from wood shop, That's a really strange one. It's going to go to, it's going to get moved to the food processing plant from the wood shop. So now let's go to our.
So now your mashed potatoes have wood chips in them.
Well, I think this is crates.
Hmm.
I think the wood shop makes crates, and it. I know that's not very prototypical to pick something up from the same location, but it was just an example. So I want to look at the current situation. What we're looking at, the food processing warehouse. Now, the food processing warehouse currently has 3 cars in it. You see those there? It's got a 2 reefers and a box car. So it's full up. However, this one is preparing to be picked up. So the system knows there's 3 there. There's 1 ready to go. So really, I've got a spot free to have this car sent to. But again, if we look at the inbound to the food processing, there's 3 inbound already. So what the system has discovered, and you can see by looking at a report, is that the food processing warehouse already has so many cars going to it, which is why that box car wasn't issued this way bill. Right, so now you understand why my box car is not getting this particular way bill. We can do this for all the way bills. We can discover why it's not getting it. Now, again, I've got strict off spots on. If I turn strict off spots off and say, look, I don't care about its second destination. I just want to know whether it can get there, right? I can deal with if it's too full up to go to its next destination in my yard. I want to deal with that. I don't want the system doing that for me, right? You can tame it down by giving it the light version and say, right, we're only interested in its first destination, which is Rockwood Subdivision Wood Shop, right? So, because I have this in strict mode, it's preventing the second destination. It's preventing that way bill going onto that car because the second destination is full up, right? If I turn that off and update it, right? Now I've got it in light mode, so it doesn't care about the second destination. So let's go back to our box cars. It was this one, wasn't it? Right. So it's going from the wood shop to the food process. Oh, wooden boxes. I didn't read that. Wooden boxes. So now that should assign to a car. And what I can do is I can actually reset the way bills, and it didn't go on the car. Why did that not go on the car? That should have gone on the car. Maybe if I adjust the amount, if I give it another one, for example, and then save it. Let's see if that assigned it to the car. Yeah, there you go. Can you see that's now gone down to 1 of 3?
Yeah.
Right.
So what it's done is because I've adjusted it, it's scanned the layout again and reassigned any available way bills based on the settings now. Now, remember I said, whenever you change a setting, they're instantly available. You don't have to run a new session. They're instantly available. So if I now go to my location cars and go back to my empties, here's the box cars. Now there's only 1 that's holding yard. The rest have all been assigned. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So we've fixed that problem, right? So
yeah, cool.
now, if you have physical car cards, you wouldn't know that. You would literally have to sit there all night with every single way bill in front of you to figure out what's going on with your layout. But using the reports and adjusting your way bills, you can instantly fix that issue of I've got too many empties sitting in my yard. Now, you may want that, in which case just leave it. But if you really want to get down to fine details, which is kind of why I'm here today, is looking at fine tuning and optimizing your layout, you can do that with all the reporting tools that we have on there. Make sense?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So you can also use that for so you can use the reports, for instance. No, not that report. Where is it? This one. So you can use the industry usage report. You can go in and find out what's not getting a lot of industry. And using that report, you can design more way bills to say, well, hang on, the meat packers has only had 3 cars. 57 cars have turned up to Rockwood, and only 3 of those have gone to the meat packers. Well, I want the meat packers to be busier, right? So what I can do now is go into the system and I can design a new waybill to utilize meat packers. So I could say, right, where could it come from? So let's find something on the layout that hasn't got many box cars going to it, etc. And you can fine tune your system like that to design a waybill perfectly suited to industries that are not getting a lot of traffic. And you wouldn't know that until you've either run multiple sessions or having a quick look at the industry usage report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really cool features that we've like I did anything that you've brought in here, Steve.
you gave me input on the last one, so that's sort of spurred all these extra features on. Now, if people are getting a bit overwhelmed with, well, hang on, this is too much information, which is, going back to other software that's out there, it can be way too much. Ignore everything I've said. Just ignore absolutely everything I've said. Just go in, put your tracks in, design some waybills, and boom, off you go. You do not have to worry about any of this whatsoever. This is for the nut jobs that really want to dive deep and get their operations absolutely spot on perfect.
Sure.
And using the reports. Paul loves the reports. He'll sit there all day reading, what industries have got cars in, how many has it had over the last however many, movements.
Right.
And that's what the reports are for. Yeah.
Good.
What else did I have? Yeah, so the usage report is logged over, like I say, if you have 100 cars, it will log 200 movements. So if you have 200 cars, it will log 400 movements, etc., etc. Now, something else we've added, which I never actually told you about. So Andy's got a situation. Let me just remove that because I need not that one. Remove that one because I need to log into another account. Andy has a situation where he's got an ore loader, right?
That's right.
Now, previously, if you were making a waybill for your ore loader, right? What you would do is you would turn up to that location with your ore cars, and then you would put them in a track, right? So you would either set them out as full ore ones ready to be dumped into a barge, and then you would pick the empties up and take them with you. Something that someone brought up is, well, what if I don't want to drop them off? What if I want to process the ore and take it back with me, right? Bulk ore operations, coal operations.
Right.
We didn't have that ability. We do now. So I have a consist on board. This is just a demo account. And these are all, there's 4 hoppers here going to the coal mine. They're all empty. I want to go to the coal mine and I want to process these cars. So I go from my staging yard to the coal mine, and hey presto, we're at the coal mine. As you see, there are cars to pick up, but there's these cars here. You notice they don't say set out, they say load car.
Oh, yeah.
So we can still off spot them. So if you don't want to process them, you can off spot them into a track, yeah, for someone else to do the loading process. But now what I do is I can press load car, and it will actually time a loading sequence for that car. And then it's done.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you want to back a train up, you can only do one at a time, right?
Yeah.
There it goes. And there it goes. It's done. And same with loading. It's exactly the same thing. Now, what that's doing is that's now put that back into my consist as a loaded coal car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you can set that up. Well, you can set that up however you want. Hang on, I'm pressing the wrong thing here. So we've added that as part of the timing process on a waybill. So nothing major has changed. When you're creating your waybill, coal mine, the coal tipple, empty. So you remember the turnaround time? So now instead of putting a turnaround time, you've got bulk car dynamic loading. You can select that, and then you can select how long you want each car to take to load.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can essentially go while you're sitting there on layout, click it, and then go through the process of loading it, and
Yep.
slow down the operations.
Right.
That's really cool.
This is what
That's
someone
neat.
said is they have there's a
That's
couple
really,
of
really
people
cool.
there's a couple of people that actually have this. Remember like the boxes that you can get for the side of your layout and you have to press it and it tells you whether you got a hot box or something.
Mm-hmm.
You remember
Right.
last time I showed you how you can put hot boxes into our system so you don't need that? Well,
Yeah.
this replaces that system for loading. Like they have a timer. Some people go that far to time each wagon for its loading. And this is specific for that particular instruction. So I can actually take 5 seconds per car to load it. Let's say this is on the other end coming back with some coal, but I can actually take 10 seconds to unload it. So they don't have to be the same. Yeah. So you can actually define that in your ops. So
I like that
what
a
would
lot.
happen then is you'd turn up with a bulk train. You would unload each wagon individually. Once it's all done, they're all loaded, ready to go. If I go back to my operations, let's just do these as a standard pickup. So let's load this one. So I'll be back in my train through the loader. That's loaded, and then this one, and it won't process that car until you've actually sat there and waited for it to be loaded. So you have to do that. Now all my cars are loaded and ready to go.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So
That's a cool feature. That's well done.
yeah.
Like
So
that.
you can have that now as an operation.
Cool.
And I think that's it. That's pretty much
so when was the last time we talked? It was what, 5 months ago?
Something like that, yeah.
And you've gone.
That's a lot of work in that period of
I was
time.
going to say that is a tremendous amount of work in that period of time. I mean, you have really, really, I guess, made vast improvements to version 2 here, and I think
we're still version 1.
Or still version 1, yeah.
1.7. There is. I will. Yeah, I'll let you know what we've got coming.
Okay. And I was
this
just
is
going
still
to
version 1.
So when do you plan on, I guess, doing your next release then?
So, well, it's been released all the time. As Paul said, is whenever I build something new in the system. So what I'll do is I'll take input from what people want. I'll develop that. I'll certainly test it, make sure it does work. When it gets released into the system, it's straight away available to all users. Okay. So
when you deploy it, it's live.
Done. It's live, yeah. And like I say, my ethos on any of these kind of systems is Mike wants all the systems available to him all the time. Some people don't want that. It's too much. I don't want to have to do live coal loading ops. I don't want to have reports. So everything I try to make an option. Like I say about switching the strict waybills. If you don't want the system holding back waybills at all, just put all your track lengths at 0 and don't worry about it. It will just assign the waybill and off you go. You can still have fun designing your own waybills and doing your own off-spotting manually rather than the system holding back waybills. So you don't have to do all of it. You just basically you add what you want to the system, and you can make it as complicated as you want or as simple as you want. And that's hopefully what I've sort of got through when I've been designing these things.
No, it's really good. So you've inspired me. Tomorrow I'm actually gonna take another crack at this. Because some of the stuff that you've put in here, like the ore loading, for me that'd be huge.
That'd be absolutely monstrous for your layout.
Yeah,
I mean that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I was thinking of you when it came up. Is someone mentioned it? They were doing it on their layout, but they were using some kind of timing device for their cars, and they created like an Arduino project. And you press the button, and it sort of flashed back at you when the car's finished loading. I thought, well, I can digitize that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've added it to the system. Again, it's when you're creating the waybill, you decide whether you're going to leave it there for how long, or whether you want to process it right now, and how long is it going to take each car to process. And then you just go through, and it just slows everything down. So people physically have to drive it at a scale speed through a loader or unloader. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to set this up on my layout too. I mean, because it's like for my layout being more of a switching style layout, having an inbound area, the majority of the cars are off layout. You see what I mean? So so the only cars that are coming onto the layout is what basically the train from the day that night brought over. So those are it. And then there's a small little yard that's got a handful of cars in it that, first in, first out, right? So that's kind of the way it is. So the oldest cars get spotted next.
Yeah.
Is the way I do things, So I'll have to play around with it and see exactly how this all works out now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So
your list, Mike, was there anything I've missed out?
Oh, jeez.
So you hit us with a lot tonight.
Yeah.
It's difficult because, like I say, I mean, there's always things missing. There's always things people want to add to it. I don't want to overwhelm people, and I feel like I'm already doing that without saying, well, I want to define how many off spots you can have. Well, you don't really need that because you can do it with the reports. You can do that as an operation.
Right.
So I don't want to overwhelm with people, right? What's the track length of this spot? What's the track length of the off spots? Do you want off spots? It's just, I do it as a switch and that's it. So that takes care of the waybill being assigned to the car. Now it's up to you whether there is room to off spot that or whether you hold it back in the yard using the reports. Yeah. And you've got the one-click reports as well. So you don't have to read a whole report. You can just read that car. Boom. Will it fit? No, it won't. Right. Put it in the overflow and we'll build another car. Once he's out of the yard, we'll start building a second train to go out. Yeah. With the overflows.
Yeah.
Outstanding. So, all right. I think I'm going to give this another shot. Now that I got basically my main line back in and I can run to Pine River and back. So that's what you see behind me here. Mm-hmm. Definitely going to give this a shot now. So if someone wants to find you, where can they get a hold of you, Steve?
I think you put everything in the description of the video. It's just trainwaybills.com. And then the Facebook's there. We've got a Facebook page and we've got a discussion group as well, which has been quite handy for new users coming in that say, right, this is my layout, this is my track plan. I want to sort of put this on the system because everyone has a different way of doing it. So and it allows people to have the discussion as to how they're going to put that into the system.
You have multiple pricing options too, and I think they're all quite modest to be. They're
very modest. So we've increased. It's actually been really popular. So what I found was I was restricting, and that's my bad. I was restricting the free account too much. I want people to try it out without too many restrictions. So we used to have 10 cars available to use for free. We now have 40.
Yep.
So you can do 40. If you've got less than 40 cars on your layout, you can use train waybills for free. That will give you 40 cars, 30 waybills, individual waybills, 3 locations, and 10 spots or tracks per location. And you can use that for free forever. And that's it. So if that's all you need, then you don't have to pay for it. You're getting it for free. And then the entry level one, which is like 150 cars, is just $4.99 a month.
$5.
And then the biggest one, which someone said about, I've got 600 cars. It's actually unlimited. There's absolutely no limitations to how many cars you put in the system. That's only $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
So there's one in the middle as well for someone who doesn't need unlimited but wants more than 150 cars.
Right.
So yeah.
So that's like 1,200 tracks you can put into that with the unlimited one, right? Did I do my math right on that? 30 locations or yards and 40 tracks at each location.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a whole system.
That's a whole system.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an entire
thing. A whole railroad system.
Yeah. Yep. And someone was saying as well, is like, how many operators can you have on your layout? That's not limited either.
Yeah. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah, I mean, you just make a session like this. So you oh no, I don't want to join that. So you create a session.
Yep.
Like this one's training session, and you edit it, and then you just add all the users you want, and you just keep adding users. Ask what the username is, put the username in, they'll get the invite, and then they just basically accept, and they're on your layout. And then once you've had your driving session, obviously you don't want them to run. You can just turn the session off, update, and they'll get kicked out, and they won't be able to get back on your layout until you switch that back on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that protects the layout from sporadic movements. So awesome. there are things still in the works, which I want to let you know about. So people have asked, and I think Heath mentioned it earlier, is he can't read the numbers on the side of the.
Yeah, that's right.
So we are adding the ability, as you see, like these cars, they have an icon, so you know that this is a box car and this is a hopper. We're going to have the ability to, instead of having a car icon and a color, you're going to be able to replace that with a photo.
Oh, that'll be cool. That'll be nice.
Ticket.
So you can add your own photo for each car.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be limited to upgraded accounts. It won't be on the free version because obviously it's server space.
Right. You got to have memory for that.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that's there. The other thing is that when you press the map here, we're also going to give the ability to put your own railroad logo on the map.
Oh.
So just as another little identifier to say, hey, this is our brand. So that goes hand in hand with the photos. So you'll be able to upload your own logo, and I'll probably whack that in the layout here. So you can just upload your logo and then it'll appear anywhere. So all your operators, when they come and hit the navigation, they'll see your logo up there.
Nice.
The other thing is the possibility. There's still people that refuse to give up switch lists, and I think Mike sort of touched on this earlier. Is some people see car cards and waybills as an older style system, and they don't think it suits their layout running modern operations. So what I'm going to do is actually build a front end for the same train waybill system, but it gives you a switch list style operation, as in it will give you a list of cars that you're picking up and dropping off, as opposed to having to click each car.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Yeah. So for those that are just hell bent into doing switch lists instead of car cards and waybills, you'll be able to do that. And then don't forget, because this is in the cloud, you can have a remote dispatcher somewhere in the world building your switch list live, putting it on the layout, and then they can call you up and say, hey, your switch list is ready to go. There it is. And you'll be able to click a button and pick up your switch list, and off you go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I can see meddling in people's layouts already.
The other thing people have asked for is car weights and consist weights. That's important to some people. So I'm going to add that. Locos and cabooses I haven't done yet, but it's still on the to-do list for at some point. And then there is something that I've been toying with because, again, it's in the cloud. It's all on one system. I can build a functionality into the system to have radio operations.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So instead of you having to have telephone systems, walkie-talkies, using your phone, WhatsApp, I'm going to build it right into train waybills.
Wow.
Which we got to have them back on when that happens.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
The restriction when it comes to having a telephone system is you can't do remote dispatching. You have to have the telephone system integrated into the room. Whereas using train waybills, you will be able to have a remote dispatcher taking, the radio calls and responding, etc., etc. So it will actually, even if you just use it for that, it's bringing another feature to operations of a layout, which people, and I know people use it. They'd love to use a radio system, but they just can't be bothered setting it all up. If it's already integrated into here and it's just one button, and it goes off to a dispatcher picks it up, responds back, then I am looking to integrate that into train waybills.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Looks like we got you got a good future project list ahead of you for more improvements, but this has come light years from where it was, and this
definitely.
I'm really impressed, Steve. So,
well, thanks. It's been hard work. It's the problem is everyone's got their different idea of how to do things, and it's very difficult to try and take everybody's idea and make it into something that works for everybody, because it's not going to work exactly the same for everybody.
Yeah.
But hopefully I've put enough tools on there and make them, all the information's there. You use it how you want, and that's the idea of the system. Is it's an information operating system to take your waybills and take care of it for you, so you don't have to worry about it. And that was what I had. That was my ethos from the very beginning, and hopefully I've made that possible.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
Mike, any other questions for Steve tonight before we tie down?
No, I think he's done a good job on making the updates and the things that he's got coming up in the future. So I'm pretty promising.
I'm really excited to.
Yeah, it sounds kind of neat. I'll have to play around with it and stuff like that. So,
but Mike, if you've got any input that you want to give me for real world things that you think would help this, just fire it off to me, and I'll take a look at it and see if I can integrate it.
I certainly will.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Steve, thank you again for taking the time and dragging
Thanks, guys,
Paul
for
along.
getting me back again. It's So hopefully next time
it's good company.
I'm actually hoping that I can get my layout together and we stop talking about it, and actually, I can show you some real live switching. That'd be interesting.
Well,
right?
People
want to see trains moving.
Yeah, maybe we do that. We could do it on the Mascoutin Valley here, or on Mike's layout the next time we talk.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So awesome.
And funny enough, we've got our NMRA meet coming up in February in the UK, and we are actually taking a switching layout there with there's a staging yard and a location, and we're going to be demoing trainway bills on that on a big screen. So that's
cool.
going to be
that's cool.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we'll be talking to you soon there, Steve. And while we're getting ready for our ops session and our backs are against the wall and the chips are down, Mike, what do we always say here at the second section?
Just keep modeling.
Thanks, everyone. Good night. Have a good night.